Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am the Unknown Furry, and today I'm looking back on history to see if humanity has shown any furry tendencies. Similar to my other video, let's count the furry red flags, or paws, that humanity has shown in the past as evidence towards being furry. A little disclaimer. This is just a good fun video with minimal actual research into historical events, and thus I won't be citing any real sources. Most information can easily be fact-checked if desired, but my video is not intended to hold any kind of educational purpose. We're just looking for furry things in history. I think we should go in reverse chronological order, this time starting with today and working our way back in time. Today, the furry community is abundant and thriving around the world. Art in all forms is made in celebration of that fantastical hobby. This explosion of art and expression started more officially with the standalone conference in 1989. Before that, the furry community still existed as an offshoot of the comic book and sci-fi communities. In this age of being a furry, the term started to solidify to identify the fandom. Tracking backwards, we start looking at media and writing to see the initiation of these furry interests through companies like Disney. Humanity was presented with an abundance of furry creation through comics as well. Mickey Mouse was Disney's first character and really began the sudden shift towards anthropomorphic animation. Continuing backwards, we'll have to look more in depth into older records of different things to see more furry red paws. Before Mickey Mouse, we started using mascots to represent our communities in different ways, particularly in sports team pride, for example. When holding an event like a sports match, each team would bring a real animal as a mascot, mostly as a good luck charm. These mascots would come to represent our differing communities more and more. In the 1800s, the term mascot was coined to mean a lucky charm of some kind, whether it's a person, object, or animal. With the idea of mascots, we're going to start moving through time very quickly, now pushing back to the 13th century. In the last 900 years, militaries, families, and cities have all used coats of arms to represent themselves and distinguish themselves in many ways. Animals are frequently used in these symbols to represent different aspects of the family, militia, or city. These ideas also partially influence the idea of last names or family names. In some cases, these names would literally come from the family coat of arms or by nicknames given from others to identify a specific family. Names like the Wolf, Leon, Aguilar, or Fuchs family are all animals that came to represent a family name that still exists to this very day. If you go looking into more popular family names, you might see this more than you think. The list of animals is quite extensive for representing family names, and even with first names. Moving further back, we reach the era of myth and gods in Greek, Roman, and Central American cultures. We'll start with the Olmec cultures in the Americas, representing many godlike entities as anthropomorphic creatures is pretty common, so we'll add a bundle of paws outright for that. But interestingly, the Olmecs seem to very much like jaguars and would depict them in lots of different things. From what I could find online, scholars don't really agree much on exactly what the jaguar represented. However, in every scholar interpretation, they represent power in some way. The Olmec people potentially believed they were descendants of the jaguar, and were-jaguar stories were likely shared or even worshipped for spiritual protection. I wonder if we have any were-jaguars in the furry community today. Although both the Roman and Greek cultures mostly represented gods in human forms, almost all the gods had more than one fursona in some form. The typical Greek and Roman god personas were in the form of divine animals such as swans, eagles, and bulls. The gods would turn into these creatures not to spy or hide from humans, but to trick, capture, or even court mortals. Zeus particularly enjoyed employing a swan fursona for courtship, making it seem like in Greek cultures getting laid was a lot easier if you were dressed up in a swan fursuit. Or maybe it was just that he was immensely powerful. A little jump back on the timeline and we get to the Egyptian civilizations, which definitely had furry gods. Instead of employing personas, sometimes these gods would simply exist in anthropomorphic forms. I'll add a significant bundle of red paws for the Egyptian gods. Not all the Egyptian gods were furry in some way, but many were. Egyptians also seemingly cared for animals greatly, especially cats. Pet owners are not necessarily furry, but it's a pretty good sign, especially if the pet owner holds their pet in great reverence like the Egyptians did. To avoid a lengthy video, I'll move on from Egypt despite it being quite easy to find evidence of paws in the culture. Let's add a couple paws to compensate. We aren't done though. Likely, even predating the Egyptians, humans have used the stars to navigate and tell time in most of history. To keep track of stars, many cultures would draw figures onto them, making constellations to help track their movement across the sky. Many constellations were made to be creatures and animals. Okay, as we go further back, I'm definitely starting to grasp at straws here, but records and historical knowledge is drying up, so I have less to work with. Cave art also depicts animals too, and although it doesn't make people furry for drawing a pig on a wall, I'm only noting down signs of possibility, not direct furry activity. So let's slap a couple red paws on the furry humanity counter for the constellations in the cave drawings also. Finally, beyond even humanity, the art of playing make-believe and playing pretend has existed for eons. Even in other species, part of learning comes from pretending to do things or be things in youth to practice for when it all becomes more real. Monsters and hunters would chase each other around trees in a game of pretend, and that would develop survival skills. Evolution favored this instinctual need to practice that it shows itself throughout history and still even today in many of our more clever species, including humans. Pet owners will know this all too well, that humans are not the only gamers on this planet. With that, we return to now, where a fluffy wolf talks about being furry throughout history, on lightning traveling in tubes, flipping little switches in boxes. If you think I missed some good evidence of furries in all of history, let me know in the comments below. It's hard to cover all the millennia of history in a 6-minute video like this one. If you enjoyed our historical journey, like the video and subscribe to my channel for more of my random furry musing. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I am the Unknown Furry, and this is